I believe that the reason God created man was for management.
Really? I have never heard it put that way.
The first thing is to be honest with yourself. You can never have an impact on society if you have not changed yourself.
God will never allow growth where there is no management.
Wow, wow, wow.
So instead of praying for things from God, pray for the management ability.
Everything I tell you is true. Everything I open my mouth and I say is correct because heaven directs me on what to say. Eligwe, Zemos in Zendidendo. Heaven will tell me and I will tell you it will come to pass in front of your eyes. Not behind it, you will see it happening.
God will withhold things from you if you cannot manage them.
When you look at the facts that something around 1 million people perished as a result of the actions of the British and Russian and Nigerian federal governments.
Vis-a-vis what we see in Nigeria, which is truly not, it should not be surprising. Look, what's happening in Nigeria is barbarous. It's horrible. I mean, it's complete madness, yet it's not a priority. The United States unilaterally could do almost anything it needs to do. It would be a long-term effort, but it could be done. And the United States has the capability. All the elements of power, we have those.
So why not?
It's not a priority. That's the problem. We are committed elsewhere in the world. Black West Africa is not a priority.
Anybody who changes his principles depending on whom he is dealing, that is not a man who can lead a nation.
Excuse me. They can't tell me. No way. When the time comes, it's okay. What stupid country is this? So when you steal, you try somebody's secret? When you like, you try a secret? When you like, it's in public? What stupid country is that? What stupid country is that, I ask you? When you like, you try in secret. When you like, you try in private. They are killing my people. 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 After killing my people, you tell me what to tell in secret? The person is mad. Completely mad. Tell Buhari, that's what I said. That he is mad. He cannot tell me. He cannot tell me. He's a madman. There's a contempt of court proceedings here. Contempt of court. They don't obey court order. They don't obey court order. You're telling me secret prayer. Is the person mad?
I, Nnamdi Kanu, will sacrifice anything sacrificable to make sure that Biafra comes.
We hereby declare no election, no 2023 general election in Biafra land. This no election in Biafra land has been activated. We are going to make it a task that must be done by every Biafran. All measures will be put in place to make sure the adequate civil disobedience is implemented to stop the election in Biafra land.
meaning of discovery? It means to bring to light something that is buried on the ground. If you can accept that, then you know that Biafra is coming. There is nothing man can do about it. It's too late. Way, way too late. The countdown has begun.
Yes, it is my pleasure to be with you again here today, the 24th day of February 2023. And this is a special day to us because it begins a fundamental historical day or historic day that would change the course of millions of people, especially Africans all over the nations of the world. I want to welcome you to this live broadcast today, and good to have you. Today is the Alliance in Focus program, of course, which talks about the Oduduwa nation and Biafra nation. But today, specifically, we shall be looking at the cause of the Biafra no election in Biafra land, and the program of seeing to it that we disintegrate and destroy the narrative of British construct, which has been the makeup of the world order to destroy Africa and keep Africa impoverished for the satisfaction of the so-called West. And that is the focus today. We're going to be looking extensively on this matter. I want to welcome every one of you wherever you are joining from. And I want to say thank you for joining. And as you join, please send a link to other people on other platforms so that they can connect with us here as we talk. You know, this platform is for people who are intellectual. And I know that you're watching, you're intellectual. That's why you're here, so that we can reason together. And at the same time, we'll put one and one together to see whether we're on the right path or the path of truth. And I know that we are building a Biafra of intellectuals because we have been ordained to change the course of universal reasoning and universal thought process. The world have plunged itself into a fundamental error where some people feel special over some other people, and some other people feel also that their survival is dependent on them impoverishing and enslaving other people. It has been the narrative and the norm these years and for centuries now, where people think that they can only survive when they put other people under them and when they make other people slaves. And this is a very, very evil narrative that the devil or the human mind has designed all this while in the humanistic kingdom, you know, or the humanistic world, where we are supposed to be human, but yet we have become terrible and monsters. In fact, we have become monstrous to one another, that we begin to see some of ourselves special, more special than the other. I want to welcome you all wherever you're watching. Please, as you come, like this video, and as you like it, send the notification on other platforms, and also subscribe if you have not subscribed, and let's reach out to the world with the narrative of truth. First, I want to thank you all sending your messages right now. I see the messages coming in, you know, and I will be reading the messages out later, but for now, I'll just acknowledge you and thank you for just being part of this. And for those of you who are viewing and looking right now and watching, please thank you too, and for being here. I always appreciate you guys for making out your time to be here as we talk about the facts and the issues that concerns us. Now, I want you to understand in the beginning this broadcast, and tomorrow is actually the scheduled election in Nigeria, not in Biafra land. It is scheduled to hold in Nigeria. And they know that we are determined to defend our borders and to make sure that no election holds in Biafra land. And that is what we stand on. And based on this, they have tried so many things. They have summoned the ambassador of Finland to Nigeria, and they have carried out the narrative. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has been arrested. They have done everything to make sure they stop the issue, and they stop this issue of sit at home. They have even gone as far as today, and British consul going to the DSS dungeon to discuss with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Lots of things, have taken place today, yes, and before now, anyways. And all of these things are facts, factual and real, based on the fact that we have said no election in Biafra land. Anyways, we shall be discussing extensively on these matters. But without wasting time, I want to, bring to the screen our own Prince Ezem Ihenacho, who is already here and live with us today. Thank you so much, sir. Welcome to the program today. A day to the mandate of stopping election in Biafra land. Thank you so much for joining. Please, we want you to say hello to everyone, and then also as we keep the discussion going from now. Thank you so much. Please go on.
Thank you so much. Yes, welcome to a day that the Lord has made. A day that the Lord has made us partakers in. A day that the Lord has chosen us to do whatever is required of us to do for today. Because you can't live today what you are meant to do. You can't live for tomorrow what you are meant to do for today. So we are here to do the needful, and we want to glorify God Almighty and welcome all Biafrans, all my fellow Biafrans. I welcome all people of goodwill across the globe who understand that God gifted each of us autonomy, gifted each of us free will, gave us conscience, gave us the ability to think independently and to reason independently. And I thank God for ensuring that there are consequences to every action, done or undone. There must be consequences. So that tells us that we must do whatever God has assigned us to do in this world to the best of our ability, ensuring that nothing we do is geared towards destroying another. Rather, whatever we do is to do with uplifting humanity. On that note, I welcome you all, and I thank you, Kelechi, for providing this hallowed platform in which we do truth, justice. I thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. You made a very, very important point there when you were just giving that brief introduction. You said something. You said it is the essence of what we are created to do is to glorify God. And talking about glorifying God means bringing or fulfilling purpose in the generation we are created in, to actually carry out the mandate of heaven. And of course, it is in carrying out the mandate of heaven that we actually glorify God. Some people think that glorifying God is to go into a ministry or a structure where someone built and raise their hands and sing the worship song in the morning, and then the sermon comes up, and then they now speak in tongues, and then they lay hands on them and they fall to the ground, and then they say, this week God is going to do this for you, and then they jump up and shout hallelujah, and they go home and they say they have glorified God today, but not understanding that glorifying God has nothing to do with all of that shenanigans, but it has to do with the fact of fulfilling the mandate of which we are sent on this earth to fulfill. And that is why the concept of Biafra is designed to glorify God. And that's why this generation, the onus is on this generation to actually glorifying God by restoring Biafra. What do you have to say about this?
You couldn't have put it any better, because glorifying God simply means, first of all, acknowledging God as the source of all things, the only source through which you even came into a world you never knew existed. That is the starting point. And the other point would then be to ignite and find in you what God has placed in you that is unique, and ensure that you deposit that in service to humanity, because we are called to serve fellow mortal beings and only worship God. We're not here to serve God because God doesn't need your service. God owns everything. God gifted us everything. And the unique things he had given us, he gifted so that we can use those unique things and serve one another. It is in service to one another that we glorify and worship God. Because without that uniqueness, it means that the purpose for which God has deposited you here in this earth, you have denied. Because God gifted you free will, so it's up to you whether you want to use what God has given you or not. So if you use or ignore that free will, then you are actually disobedient. You are actually not only stopping yourself, but you have stopped the other. You have actually sold humanity short, because your uniqueness is essential to the overall equation. That is why we are telling Blinking and Katrina Lang that they need to actually ensure that the eyes they have, the ears they have, can be inspired through the Spirit, so they can interpret what they are seeing better. Okay, because currently they have eyes but they can't see. They have ears but they can't hear. And that's why they are supporting an evil contraption designed to ruin human lives, designed to malfunction to a level of decapitation, designed to malfunction on a regular, on a persistent, on a permanent, on a progressive basis. So remember and never forget that glorifying God is find not only the acknowledgement that it is God that owns everything, including you yourself, but then also ensuring that you take your position in this life and ensure that your unique footprint is not missing on this earth by the time you are sent out of this world. And that is what Biafra has come to do. So we can inspire everybody, including those our enemies, to come to the true light of our existence, so that the glory of God can be shown around this earth. So do not give in, do not give up, do not relent. Biafra is here, and we are here for a purpose. But I must warn, we must recognize that purpose for which God has asked us to come. And we must not interfere with that purpose by imposing our own silly, conditioned will that Nigeria factor had influenced. We must pause and allow God to speak through us, so we know exactly why God has made us to come, so we do not attract the wrath of God. And let me warn you, the wrath of God is always worse than the position you were running away from. That means the wrath of God, if we do not do that which God had instructed us to come for, if we fail to do that, then we will prefer the Fulani and British establishment to have their will done on us. That is the wrath of God, when we fail to really pause and pay heed to the reasons for which God had allowed us to come. I have to keep warning, I have to keep highlighting that, so we do not miss the road as we go into Biafra. That would be futile to in the extreme. I thank you.
Now, talking about service, you know, what we are doing right now, anyways, basically, is an act of service to humanity, in which there is a purpose in front of us, and we carry out service in the process of fulfilling purpose. Now, of course, we understand that the design of purpose comes from the Supreme, which is God, who creates situations and also permits problems for us to be able to identify these problems and then solve them by service. Now, that means that bringing about Biafra and restoration of Biafra is hidden in our service, of which we must discover problems along the line of serving so that we solve them. And at the same time, as we solve them, we are serving humanity, and at the same time, bringing glory to the name of God. Now, tomorrow is the so-called election in the zoo, Nigeria. And we have a mandate to make sure that Biafra land will not vote. No Biafran in Biafra land will be voting tomorrow. And that is a task that is going to be carried out by the service of the people to the cause of the purpose why Biafra should come. And now looking at it critically, there have been a huge hurdle over time, because the British Empire had created a particular hurdle that has beclouded the minds of the people in this regard, which has to do with how they reason and the focus to which influences their reasoning. That is the concept of religion. And one aspect of it we see in the context of accepting the fact of religion, which influences our mind towards the political narrative, as we saw in Blinken and other people in that video, which I'm going to play right now, and then relating it to the religious houses, which have already programmed the minds of the people. Because I've listened to so many nonsense today, seeing many religious houses in trying to influence the people and make them understand that their vote is critical to what God is going to do. And I want to just bring up a particular video. I'm going to play the one of Blinken yesterday, and I'm going to relate it to this particular video now that has to do with a religious man talking to his congregation and trying to give them the basis of what structure is. Of course, he didn't understand it, that constitution have to do with structure. He was given analysis of the structure, but yet doesn't understand the implication of structure in reaffirming the structure and trying to see how you're going to get something different that is divine for your benefit by also endorsing that structure that is faulty. Now, let me play before you respond to that. Now, I want to play that video of Blinken of yesterday, which I played, and then play this this video that has to do with this religious, because our people are suffering and we need to get them to begin to reason rightly. Now, let's watch this, everybody.
Nigeria's constitution, like America's,
begins with this simple and profound idea: we the people.
And during this election, you, the people of Nigeria, have a chance to make your voices heard, to choose your future.
The United States does not support any individual candidate for office.
But we strongly support a peaceful election
that reflects the will of the people of Nigeria.
Because free and fair elections in Nigeria help create a freer and fairer world for everyone.
Your vote matters. This election matters, not only to Nigerians, but to the rest of the world.
We're invested in your success. Our shared democratic futures depend on it.
Go to inecnigeria.org to prepare to vote, because your voice matters.
The Nigerian people have a friend and partner in the United States of America.
Let me show you something. Sharia is mentioned in your constitution 73 times. Islam, 28 times. Grand Qadi, 54 times. Muslim, 10 times. In the Nigerian Constitution, 1999. There is no single mention of Christ in the Nigerian Constitution. No single mention of Christian in the Nigerian Constitution. No single mention of Christianity in the Nigerian Constitution. No single mention of church in the Nigerian Constitution. Now I ask you, sir, I ask you, ma, is your country an Islamic state, a Christian state, or a secular state? Which one is Nigeria? Talk to me. Constitutionally, Nigeria is an Islamic state. The reason it has not been enforced is because they have not captured the jewel that is needed to enforce it. And that jewel is the Southwest. And right now, they are set because there has been now a handshake between the Northwest and the Southwest. And this is where Christians need to wake up, and politics now comes in, which we now need to start creating political awareness in Christians, because Christians don't vote. I am one bad example. So I'm not saying you alone. I don't. But we must change it and use our vote to quickly restructure the political imbalance in Nigeria. Because if
Now, here we have a man who tried to narrate the faults in the structure and gives a vivid statistics, you know, of what is wrong. And then finally, he now begin to tell the people that because they don't vote, they need to vote to give a balance to that structure that he had already told us is faulty. Now, I don't understand this. I really have a lot to say regarding this particular video. He began well talking about the faulty structure, telling the people that this is
I know what is in your mind, so let me help you say.
Yeah, please go on, please. I need you to say something about this.
Today I wrote something. Hopefully you begin to see that some of the things you are thinking, obviously in what I have just deposited, I wrote to them, I'm going to read it word for word. The most evil constructs known to man, named Nigeria, has damaged and destroyed even its most academically educated, exposed, religious, and opinionated to a level where they believe that Finland is Nigeria. They delusionally also believe that a letter to an individual in relation to what they insanely believe is a crime can be originated from the office of the Prime Minister of Finland. Yet, those who claim to be civilized, righteous, and opinionated across the world want Nigeria to continue in some way, shape, or form. This is the very worst of outrage and insanity. So, putting it all together, both Blinken and co and the guy preaching, okay, have problem of, well, I don't know whether it is a problem or whether it is to do with the much they understand, or whether they know but they're just being foolish.
But sir, before you go, I think it's an act of wickedness, because
no, I'm coming, yeah, because I'm trying to, you know, yeah. So that's why I say, you know, it is either they know, but they are pushing a particular narrative for evil intentions, or they don't know and they're just talking rubbish, or they are playing a game that they know has served their interest. Especially when somebody comes and says to you, go and vote. It is your civic right to go and vote in Nigeria. Anybody in this world telling you that your vote means anything in Nigeria, let me tell you, is simply insane. Anybody, it doesn't matter from where, and I don't care whether it is deliberate or not, that person is simply insane. They are insane, they are racists, they are fraudulent themselves, they have evil intentions for humanity. They have nothing good in them to offer humanity. They are a waste of space. Anybody that tells you that your vote counts in Nigeria is demonic. Look, and I'm not joking. It's demonic, because I mean, I think somebody posted a video and trying to suggest that Nnamdi Kanu had advised us to take part in election. I watched that particular video where they said Nnamdi Kanu said that if we do not vote, then the world community will count it against us, because that is the only modality that the world accepts. But Nnamdi Kanu then went into saying that unless if it is the election is fraudulent, that means if it is rigged, the guy stopped because he didn't want Nnamdi Kanu to finish the sentence.
Yes.
Okay? Yeah. The guy stopped. Why he stopped was because he knows, the criminal using that particular video knows that already everything about fraud, okay, is out, even without without getting to the voting date, because everybody can see all these duplicated PVCs everywhere. Everybody can see all the ones that are thrown away. Everybody can see where these things are being printed, even outside of Nigeria. Everybody can see where little children in the north are also being registered to vote. So,
including
already, Yeah, already everybody knows. Now this is where people like Blinken and Katrina Loan begin to descend to the lowest ebb. Begins to just in fact bring total shame and embarrassment to their personalities. When they begin to tell you that your vote counts, but they know of the evils they have constructed in this area. But what I don't know, and what I believe they don't know, is this. These people have no clue about the purpose for which human beings are created. These people have no clue about the true identity of mortal beings, on the real identity. They don't know it. Let me tell you, in the minds of Blinken and in the somebody like Katrina Lang and all of these agents of destruction, okay, in their minds, these are the two things at play. In fact, there are three things. One is, some of them think they are God, okay? Some of them think that they are higher animals. And some of them think that the rest are basic animals. Their thoughts revolve around these three. And you will agree with me that none of these three has anything to do with mortal beings at all. And let me dispute it by giving you clear examples, two clear examples. Every mortal being, that is you and I, doesn't matter who else, every mortal being on this earth today originated from sexual intercourse performed by two strangers. Those strangers never knew who you nor I was by the time they were indulging in that sexual act. Neither did we know them. Everybody, Blinken, Katrina Lang, everybody came through this process. So I want to prove to you that they are deluded in thinking that they are God. That is the point I want to stress right now. And this is where Biafra becomes very unique, and why we should all celebrate that Biafra is here, because we are bringing the true knowledge about our existence, without which we can never show the glory of God on earth. And neither can we maximize our potentials here on earth. That is why Biafra will introduce the things that will blow the minds of human beings, because things that have never been thought of or seen will descend from Biafra. And I need you to understand these things very, very, very well. So, Blinken, Katrina Lang, and all of them who believe or who think or who accept in their minds deludedly that they are gods are liars of profound and staggering proportion. Because I know, and every other person that is sane can relate to this thing. I know that nobody in this world knew of the existence of this world without going through a process, which simply means that two strangers indulged and must indulge in sexual activity without having the notion that somebody like Blinken will be coming out. No, because
I want us to look at this, because you know, if we Blinken and co, some people might be looking at them from afar. But now let's relate it now to these kinds of preaching going on in all of these churches or so-called churches.
But I would have loved to finish this. Okay, I'm going to be quick in finishing this point, and then we'll take it to the next guy. Yes, please. So the simple fact is, nobody is God, because we can account for how we all got into this world. Okay, so that is one part, which shows that God already created this world and everything that is in it before any of us came out through that process, whereby nobody that comes from the womb comes with anything. In fact, everybody comes naked and totally empty-handed. So we can't say we are God because we created nothing. That's one part. Those who say, or those of them that believe that you are a basic animal, they all should know, if they don't know it, that no basic animal, no animal in this world has the capacity to reproduce what they eat. No animal. Please, if you find one, bring, let me see. If they will tell you with this stupid argument that, oh, but honeybee is an insect, okay? It's a fly, yeah? Honeybee produces its own honey. Listen to this so you understand. What nature instructs and gives each insect, any animal, is a basic way and homogeneous way of operation. That means there is no individuality in the honey that they are going to produce. They can't add or subtract or make a different type. No, it is standard across the world. So that tells you that this is not, these are nothing to do with being human beings or mortal beings, okay? So every animal, okay, it's a matter of must depend on you and I, mortal beings, and or nature, for the reproduction, and listen attentively and understand the adjectives I'm using, for the reproduction of the basic, standard, natural food each animal consumes across the globe from species to species. That means what an ape eats in Africa is what similar ape eats across wherever you find them, okay? It is only mortal beings that can alter what animals eat. Basically, nature offers them the same thing. That's why an ant eats the same thing wherever you see them. The same brand of ant will eat the same thing, okay? So these people are neither gods nor animals. And until they understand that mortal beings are here with unique gifts, coupled with limitations to alter nature, to alter animals, to even alter themselves, in order to replenish this earth, but with limitations. Until these people understand this simple fact, they will continue to destroy themselves through the destruction of other people. And they will continue to delude themselves to believe that they are either gods or basic animal. Please, on that note, let us come into the preaching of this man. Please, give me your question, please.
Now, we have Blinken first, before we go to that man, because he's closer to us than Blinken. But of course, basically, the influence this man commands and the control he commands over his congregation comes from Blinken and co, because they are the ones who actually brought this narrative of putting the people under a spell by hijacking their minds and giving them a pattern of reasoning based on religion. Now, Blinken now and co stoop low to now feature in a program or in a jingle that's about 1 minute or 59 seconds and project the image of election in the context of Nigeria as a democratic process. Whereas Blinken had actually said, and his people or his country has actually said initially, and from other sources like the CNN and all of that, that even these places where they are calling out for the people to go for election, that place called Nigeria is not a priority to them. Because it is not a priority, then it simply means it is not a priority. Now, when it comes to election, he stoops low to now call out the people to vote. And then now, their stooges, of course, we know that Khan and all of that were appointed, the leaders of Khan and all of that were appointed by the same politicians who, control them. Now, this man in his preaching, because he has to, join the narrative, tells us now about the structure and now make the people feel that the only way the structure can be fixed is for people to come and build on that structure. That means people should go and vote. Christians must vote. And now I want you now to try to give the people a picture from this. Now, how can you talk about a structure that is broken, that is destroyed? And then you now say that now, it's just like, let's look at Syria and all of that. You go there and you see that the building has collapsed, but the foundation maybe on the ground is still standing. And then you begin to build on it again. Now, it's crazy because you must first check the foundation and deal with the whole thing that has to do with the foundation before now you begin to put a structure on it. Now, I wanted to help people to understand that religious understanding of structural base of a building does not hold waters, because structure is structure anywhere. Once structure is faulty, then the building cannot stand, no matter how spiritual you think you are.
Absolutely. You've summed it up already. You see, what people need to understand is that the structure represents the foundation. The foundation of the building is the stronghold of the building, without which the building can never stand the test of time. The structure represents the root of a tree. Without the root, no tree will be standing. The structure also represents what we call the foundational or the foundational stages of a child. When you hear psychologists talk to you about when they say, in the developmental stages of a child, we look at from 0 to 5 years as the formative years of the child. Those are the foundations, and once those foundations are poisoned, once they are poisoned, forget about the rest. Because it's impossible for a poisoned root to suddenly produce anything that is healthy. Nigeria is poisoned. And even Anthony Blinken knows in his heart that he was lying. He's not stupid. Because if he doesn't know he was lying, why is it that you will listen to other tapes coming from America where people are saying it is outrageous what is happening in Nigeria? And in fact, America can stop this. And they are asked, why isn't America intervening? He said, no. Black Africans are not a priority. Okay? Now, yeah, and I've said this before on this program, that ordinarily, when you go to Britain and you go to lodge a complaint about what Nigeria is doing, they will say, no, don't worry about it. It's not that they can't do anything. Nigeria is a sovereign state. In fact, they will advise you to go and enter into the political system and then work out a strategy through there, because they know that that political system leads to nowhere. These people telling you to go and vote will not accept Atiku, Obi, or Tinubu even to run their companies. They would not employ them in their companies. Yeah? And I'm not joking. But they are pushing you to go and vote. The foundation, you see, when I tell you, there are things I have said in the past that I've told you to note down. Don't mess with them, because they are founded on solid grounds. Okay, because we are on a hallowed platform. We don't lie here. We don't play with words. We call it the way it is. When I say to you that Nigeria is the worst construct against humanity, that it was poisoned and created to ruin human ingenuity, that it is designed to produce malfunction on a regular, on a persistent, on a progressive, and on a permanent basis. I wasn't joking. So when I say to you that Nigeria is that evil, that cancer in humanity that must be cut out for humanity to live, I wasn't joking. And also when I tell you that anybody who says they are a Nigerian, anybody who believes in Nigeria is actually a conditioned, fixated, smiling and happy slave who is only willing at all times to go and renew their slavery certificate. I am not joking. These things are not meant just for people to laugh. These are serious matters, because they are matters of life and death, because we need to understand it in order to do something about it. I also know that Nigerians have been conditioned to a level where no matter how serious anything is, instead of Nigerians to deal with it, they will put it as comedy in order to neutralize it and in order to cope and carry on with it, so they can carry on smiling and being happy in psychosis, because what you're seeing, what you define as happy and smiling Nigerians are propelled by psychosis. This is mental health smile and mental health happiness. And I mean it, I'm not joking. So it is out of that conditioning that this pastor, after saying all the good things, had to default to that conditioned level where he now saying, we now as Christians need to start voting, believing that voting is what can change or would put an engine in a vehicle that has no engine just by voting. Nigeria is a vehicle without engine. Voting cannot introduce an engine into this vehicle that can never move. Okay, that is just the simple illustration. Nigeria is packaged to produce evil, and everybody encouraging it has the mindset of evil, because they must either be a racist or they will be a fraudulent person, or they will be somebody who is delusional, that means insane, or somebody who is what we call insanely selfish and greedy, because people don't know that people think, oh, he's selfish, he's greedy. People can be all that, but for you to believe in Nigeria, your greed and your selfishness must have some association with insanity. I'm not joking. Mark my words carefully. Do you know what it means that we are living in a place, or you are hearing about in Nigeria, where people believe, oh, Simon Ekpa had been arrested. And many people believe that's the end of him. Because in their minds, knowing what Nigeria has done to them or what they believe Nigeria to be, they are seeing Finland to be another Nigeria. Do you know what? And this is not just this is not just the academically educated. This is not just the religious. This is also the media houses where you're looking for independent analysis, where all of them. Now you can now imagine what is happening in the minds of those who are not educated, who are not exposed to anything. If the most educated will automatically believe that now they've caught him, he's finished. Some people were saying that don't worry, he's now going to be extradited. He's not going to be, and in fact, some people are also saying that let's see, even Finland will withdraw his citizenship.
Yes.
This tells you all these things point to is the level of destruction, the mental torture and the degradation Nigeria has brought to the most educated, the most righteous. Now, because you need to really understand these things. Otherwise, you won't understand. You will just be, you know, when people are just floating in the air. You need to, without understanding, you can't do anything about anything. That's why I'm trying to break it down so that you can appreciate what is at play. Nigeria has damaged people to a level where in their minds and in everything about them, they believed that Finland, a nation where you have attorney general, where you have law enforcement agencies, where you have the police, that it has to take a prime minister to write a letter to an individual about criminal matters. Hey,
that is what Nigeria has designed.
Now, this is what Nigeria has done to human beings. I know what God made us to be. Now, if that does not shatter your brain and put you in permanent depression, then you are a very strong person indeed. The only reason why people are still carrying on with this level of madness and allowing Nigeria to even exist for a day is because they haven't yet understood what Nigeria is doing to human beings that are supposed to be autonomous, that are supposed to be productive, that are supposed to contribute something very important for our existence. Because any time you come, in fact, I keep thanking God that I am still living, because when you know what I know, when you understand what I understand about the human construct, if God is not with you, you will just die because you can't take it.
Correct.
Your heart cannot take it. You will just die. You won't want to be anything. You won't have anything to do with this place called the world. But God is sustaining us for a reason. God is revealing all these things to us, and yet giving us even the heart to go and celebrate. Haven't you people seen me dancing? You might think when I'm talking like this, oh, this guy must be. No, I find time to give glory to God. I find time to play, to enjoy. I play tennis as much as I can. I work as I please. I'm too old now. I'm retired. I've done a lot of work in my life. I'm tired of working. And I'm preparing myself to do a particular work for Biafra and Oduduwa Republic. Okay, I'm preparing myself for that, and I want to do it free of charge, because anything to do with service of humanity, you're not supposed to be doing it for money, because it is priceless. You can't put money to it. And so God is preserving us for a reason. Otherwise, honestly, I've seen enough. I've looked at this life enough. In fact, some of the things I hear from Nigerians, the intellectuals in Nigeria, sometimes are enough to make me collapse and die. But God continues to sustain me, because I know that there is a purpose for every day's existence. And we are calling on God to take over the mantle, to take over control, after we have said and done all that we ought to say and do. And then let's see what happens after tomorrow.
Now, I want to ask you this particular question. I want to ask this particular question because, you know, with Nigerians they still have time to get themselves to begin to think like intellectuals. Because as a Nigerian, they are actually out of that, you know, realm of intellectual reasoning. Now, look at that man critically. Let's, first of all, Blinken. You know, you can access, as you have said, that these guys have lost touch with what it means to be human. There's this psychological situation that has destroyed even the best people you think exist in the world. Even the best people you think, as they call themselves, the very important higher animals and all of that, that they cannot reason properly, so that they have become, they are now constituting nuisance even to themselves, like what Blinken has done. Now, let's bring it now to this man who is talking about giving a fine analysis, telling you how Islam is in the Quran, how Sharia, the number of times Sharia is mentioned, and all of that. He gives all of those analyses. And now he now comes to the point of the solution. He now begins to tell you that you should bring more problems to yourself.
Solution is to vote.
Yes, to vote. So now let's look at it now. I want you to speak to Nigerians, because when people talk, you access their stance and who they are through what they say, and you cannot judge their level of reasoning. Now, if someone who I look forward to as my spiritual head, like that man now in that place, people are sitting down listening to him, and he comes up with such kinds of narrative, and then he now gives me a solution that plunges me further into the problem. Now, how then do I call such person my spiritual leader? It means that person has a spiritual direction that is faulty. How come Nigerians cannot actually look critically into these things and fault the spiritual dimension in which this will all from the spiritual point where these people are coming from? How come people could still sit down and allow themselves to be controlled by people who have lost spiritual direction? Let's look at it in that realm of spiritual direction.
Well, all along I've been talking. In fact, the whole time I spent on your platform, I've kept answering this question that you have just asked. And I'm telling you that when people are conditioned, when people, you have to go and research into conditioning, and then the word fixation. When one is fixated and conditioned, that's why we say human beings, mortal beings, are not meant to be conditioned. They're not meant to be fixated. What God actually wants us to do is for us to unleash every truth we have onto a child. Okay, we are not meant to be deceiving a child in order to condition them to believe in the deceit and the lies. We are meant to unleash every truth that we have come across and we have examined to be the truth. And then we must allow that child to ignite their own independent thought process so they can analyze and go through what information we have given them. If it is the truth, their minds will guide them to accept it as the truth. If it is lies, their minds will align them. And in fact, they are going to balance what you are saying with what others are doing and what others are saying to work out whether you have lied to them or not. That's why a child naturally will grow up thinking that their father can kill everybody. But suddenly they begin to realize that no, my father is not the strongest. There are other strong people. Okay. A child can grow, and after taking to heart every lie that their parents have given them, suddenly when interacting with other people, they begin to query some of them. So by right, what God, and that's why I thank God for my parents who were teachers. Whether they tried or not, perhaps I'm just a different individual. Okay, whether they tried or not, because I went through my parents' a study book, their curriculum and all the rest. And I from an early age, I saw so much to query. So, but what I'm trying to say is that as you are growing up, if you're a parent, if you're a child, your job as a parent is to introduce the child to the much truth that you have. That is what it is. And then hope that that child will begin to activate their own thought process. In psychology, it's called cognition. Their cognition activated, because when they activate it, they begin to cross-check what you have said, what you've been saying. They will tease out the truth. That is if you have not originally designed them and programmed them to be conditioned. What you can condition is an animal, but even conditioning of an animal is also evil. It's not right. You're not supposed to be doing that. Animals are supposed to live naturally, okay? Unless if you want to, but whatever you're going to do with an animal, you have to do it from a humane angle. Otherwise, it will count as sin, okay? God gifted us this world to moderate, to handle, to take care of, and to make sure that we hand over to future generations, because we are all like in a chain of factory, whatever. Just this is how it is. We go and people come. We are supposed to be handing on to the next generation a better world to work on. We're not supposed to be reinforcing the evils of our parents and our ancestors, which is what Katrina Lang and what Blinken are doing. Okay, we're not supposed to be reinforcing evil. We're supposed to break the chain of evil. And the only way we can do that is to make sure that we gifted our children the whole truth about what we know and allow them to develop their own cognition that will enable them not only to analyze, but to critically analyze everything they have obtained from us. In that way, they will come to the truth as well. Now, so in answering to your question, the reason why you have a lot of people sitting and warming the chairs. I was listening to Chris Okutie the other day, or whoever, or is it Chris Oyakilomi or somebody? And all of these guys believe that they are seeing God and the Spirit is always telling them something. And I wonder why the Spirit only tells them about the elections. And the Spirit only tells them about who will win the World Cup. The Spirit only tells, I think these people have gone crazy, but I'm not even particular about these guys. I'm particular about the thousands that sit down there and applaud and scream and shout. But I know what is propelling their activities, all of them, including the preacher and those that are celebrating. It is all called conditioning. Conditioning. Sadly, these lunatics, because that's what they are, whether they like it or not, that's what they are. Because once you begin to reason outside of humanity, you're a lunatic. You need to be brought back and you need to be told so you don't think you're doing the right thing. This is why we must always call a spade a spade. Otherwise, children will mistake it for bread and start eating it and get harm from it.
Correct.
So, it is conditioning that has gripped these people. They have been conditioned into lies. These people don't even know Christ. No. What they know is the European Christ that is brought to them in order to enslave them. So what they quickly did was to convert that European Christ into a vehicle through which you can now begin to sow what they call seeds in places where seeds do not germinate, and in the pockets of criminals pretending to be men and women of God. These people have no clue about the true Yeshua, who came to save all, who said you must not do unto others as you wouldn't like done unto you, who said if you are not a sinner, then you are qualified to cast the first stone, who said you must carry weapon to defend yourself but never go on the offensive. But people don't know all these things. They don't know all these things. That is why they said they believe in Christ, but they still allow themselves to be enslaved by other people. Those who believe in the true Yeshua are never enslaved, and they don't enslave anyone. Because go and study the antecedent of Yeshua, Jesus Christ. Study the antecedent, you will find that he never came to enslave anybody. Rather, he came to free all. That was why he became the height of rebellism against the authorities of his time. Today, people are telling you, you got to respect constituted authority. No, it's a lie. You only respect constituted authority when it comes to the things they define as crime. But when they sin, you condemn their sins. Christ condemned the sins of constituted authority. There were no constituted authority higher than the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the high priests, the scribes. Those were the leading people then. Christ stood up and condemned their sins and even called them something of vampires and called them hypocrites. And that's what they are up until today. And you are telling me, talk not against what is it again? What's that famous line? Something like, speak not against my anointed and do my prophet
no harm. Yes.
Complete garbage. Complete garbage. These are people who don't understand what being anointed means. These are people who don't know that being anointed, it means being in that place where God has ordained you to be, as a plumber, as a lawyer, as a doctor, as a teacher. Okay, as far as that thing you're doing is your true call, you are anointed in that work. Okay, so the fact that somebody is wearing a robe and a big collar and is killing somebody, is cheating somebody, is only preaching about money, does not recognize blood money from genuine money. No, Christ says you must test every spirit and condemn sin, but don't condemn sinners. You must condemn their evil acts. That is a duty you have. They also have to condemn yours. By that way, that is how we sanitize ourselves, because our souls are all important. Okay? What God is saying is, do not do my prophets harm. Okay? Because my prophets and my anointed ones are those who are in service of humanity, doing that I have called them to do, and doing that in the right order, not cheating, not stealing, not killing. No, you must condemn any evil they do. without condemning them, because we are all sinners anyway. We need to understand these things. Otherwise, we will not know why people like this will be preaching and you have people clapping for them. It is all to do with conditioning and becoming fixated because you are conditioned. I hope I've answered that.
Very well. I'm going to ask you the last question because this is very critical, because tomorrow is the day. It's going to be remarkable because we want to end an evil.
Nigeria has to be ended. In fact, yes. Nigeria should have gone a long time. Yesterday is even, oh God, this is crazy.
Long time. Now, I want you to help the people understand the narrative here. The world order that have been in place is actually defined in the context of subjugating Africa and the use of the resources of Africa to build a kind of program for some special people, a cult, a group of people in the world who have made themselves the controllers and the owners of the world. Now, tomorrow we have passed through the fire. We have gone through the process. We are determined that tomorrow is going to end this world order. Now, I wanted to help the people understand the implication of ending this world order, which has kept Africa in this situation and this shape that we have, found ourselves a long time ago. How significant Biafra stopping the election and Biafra refusing to endorse another period of subjugation would help this world order crumble?
Yeah, right. You see. Thank you for that question. I think people haven't really understood the trajectory that the humanity is in based on all these wrong animal-infested narratives. Because without understanding it, you won't understand why God wants you to end this now. Okay? We're living in a world where human beings design themselves as animals and have organized themselves in packs, believing that without destruction of you, they are not going to survive. These are people that don't understand. I've said it before, they don't understand the reason why God created man on earth. They have no clue. And you know what happens to somebody when they don't understand their identity, their purpose on earth? The person has actually become mad. And it doesn't matter how academically educated they are. In fact, the more academically educated they are, the more dangerous they become unto themselves.
Yes.
That's just how it is.
Very well.
So now, the importance of halting what is called Nigeria can never be emphasized. It cannot be overestimated. And I'm telling you, that is what God wants to happen now. Because without the arrival of Biafra, let me tell you, human beings would destroy themselves. Okay? What Biafra is coming to do is to free humanity from self-imposed bondage. Self-imposed bondage. Humanity has held itself hostage. Biafra is coming to proffer solution in order to free humanity from this madness. And if we fail in doing it, if we use our crazy will to override, because God gifted us a will for a reason. If we use that silly will, oh, I tell you something, I tell you something, and I'm sure my God would act in the best way God acts. And those that will suffer the most will be those who actually use their will to navigate this, because God would look at everybody's heart. God sees the intention of everyone. So we need to be very careful. The problem is that these lunatics are so fixated on the things we human beings introduced into this world by using the things God created. Okay? Because we can't introduce anything. That's why we created nothing. We can only recreate. We can't introduce anything without using what God has already provided.
Very well.
Okay? But then after using what God has provided, we begin to worship what we have recreated. I mean, there is no bigger, in fact, there is no bigger madness. Now, God told us that we can't even worship anything he created. In this instance, it is not even that we are worshiping the things God created. No, we are worshiping the secondary things that came out of or came from the things God created. That is what we are worshiping. We are worshiping money and betraying people because of money. Something that is a recreation of man. Yeah? We are worshiping crude oil. Every nonsense Blinken and Katrina Lang was talking is because they are in the worship of crude oil. And every other thing man has recreated out of the things God created. This is the level of insanity, the level of insightlessness, the level of delusion in these people. And that is what Biafra is coming to correct. And if we fail, woe unto those that failed. Because I tell you, the wrath of God will descend upon you. And it won't be funny for humanity. Trust me. Believe you, mark today's date that I said it. What I love Biafrans for, the genuine Biafrans, okay, they have no intention to harm anybody. They have no intention to no, but they will defend themselves. And genuine Biafrans are unafraid of any mortal being on earth. Now, because we worship Chukwokika. We know that it is only Chukwokika that we should be afraid of, because he alone is the custodian of our souls. Because we know that the physical must go. We know that the killers of this earth must be killed by the same death. And all of us must render account for what we did or what we failed to do on this earth. So genuine Biafrans understand these things. That's why they are very bold. And please don't criticize them for their boldness, because they couldn't have it any other way. And they encourage you also to be bold and in spelling out the truth and ensuring that the truth appears in its natural state, totally naked. And that a spade is always called a spade, not something else that will confuse the children. On that note, I thank you all very much.
Yeah, before you go, I'm going to, for the last time, play this particular video. Let the people hear what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, and then you give your concluding note on that, especially on those who are still considering going tomorrow, thinking that they have to risk their lives and come out when we have said lockdown, and they are busy
to go and renew their slavery certificate.
In fact, I have a cousin who came to my wall on Facebook yesterday, and she was saying she lives in Iguacha. She said that please, bros, don't tell us all that stuff. We are concerned about making Nigeria better, and because she was so excited when the news came that Simon Ekpa had been, and I told her, I said, you need to be informed. Yeah, so I'm going to play this so that you can give them an advice, and so that they will live their lives out of that stupidity. Let me play.
Voted in 1999, they rigged election, they looted the treasury. In 2003, it was 2003, you voted again. The treasury was looted. 2007, you went back to vote for another change. The treasury was looted. 2011, did you not go there? The treasury was looted. Each time you vote for them, they steal from you. And you know the funniest thing? Next time when they call you to go and vote, you will also go out to vote. That makes you an idiot. That is why you're a baboon, you're a monkey. You can't reason very well. On a most of my guy, you would have born. That's the saying of our people. If a road is so beautiful, you go that twice. If you go on a road that the footsteps you see is only the one going, not coming back, you should turn back and go. That means it's not safe. This is something, the tales they used to tell us by the moonlight when we were small. You are now going into a forest. All the prints, the footprints you can see on the road is leading inside the forest. That is none leading back. No footstep coming back, only going in. If you go into that forest, an evil forest, you will die there. You have been voting all your life. There is no improvement. Why do you still go to vote? I'm just asking. Oh, sorry, please. You're a baboon or a monkey, and you're a Nigerian, isn't it? A very foolish idiot you must be.
Now, such a powerful, statement from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, very powerful. Please,
I
just
love
say it.
this.
Just go on.
I love this so much. It is unbelievable. But in my way of analysis, I've always told you that nothing delivered by man will ever be perfect. So there is a slight imperfection in his delivery, where he was now referring to those who have only seen footsteps going in, footsteps not coming back, as baboons, as animals.
They're less than animals, or they're worse than animals.
Thank you. You see, you're a very good scholar. I like you. I like you because that is what Biafrans have to become, so that you take ownership of the real stuff, not the fake stuff. We go to the root. We don't do leaves and branches. We understand the depth of the issue on hand. You can't play these silly games with us. No, we've come to educate, not to be taught. We can exchange views with you, but don't think you're educating us, because we intend to educate you, because we know the source from which you are coming, but you don't know the source from which we are coming. You haven't even allowed us to speak, so you don't even know what the contents are. And that's why Biafra is coming, because God wants to enable us to introduce that which he has deposited in us, that is so unique for the posterity of humanity, that no nation on earth will stop. Nobody can stop, because God has willed us to come. God has seen enough, and God has gotten tired of what you people have done on this earth. So, and we're not coming to harm you, we're coming to help you. Biafra will not be a hindrance, rather, Biafra will be a total help to humanity. So, going back to that thing, that Nnamdi Kanu's voice I had, that was so awesome. You know, I've said it numerously, and I will never stop to say it. I never stop to say the condition of a human soul that believes that they are animals. Let me make it clear and give you a clear example. I think I've given you this before. When you believe you are an animal, animals will act better than you. Animals will react better than you when it comes to danger. For example, now, you know the hen. I always like to use the hen, just to prove to you that these Nigerians are Nigerians because they've accepted that they are basic animals. They don't have to say it. But just the fact that they said they are Nigerians, they have accepted. Don't go interviewing them, because they're going to deny. But I'm telling you, they have already accepted. Otherwise, they won't say they are Nigerians. Yes. I can bet anything on it. So, but let me show you that animals are better than them in recognizing dangers. Anybody from that Nigeria can relate to what I'm saying now. You see the hen, because everybody rears hen. At least people will see hen with its chicks. Some of them will have up to 12 chicks. Some will have 7. Some will have, you see the hen breaking worms and breaking things for their chicks to feed on. You see them moving around, just to prove to you that these birds, these animals, act better than human beings who believe they are basic animals. This is the example. You see these hens, they are aware of their surroundings and aware of dangers to a level where they don't need to see the hawk physically. No. They only need to see the shadow of the hawk. Once they see that shadow, they immediately know there is danger. They will give the chicks signal to disappear, hide. And then you see them begin to react immediately.
Very well.
Immediately. It's automatic.
Yeah.
But let me compare this particular action of the hen with the Nigerians. The Nigerian slaves. The Nigerians who already have accepted that they are basic animals, these people have no insight into danger or anything associated with danger. These people, in fact, if you sit them down and begin to narrate and go back into history and even give them the history about the Berlin Conference and all the rest, they all know it. They know it. They know it even better than you. Some of them are professors in history. They will lecture you on history. So they know all these things. They already know the dangers of Europe on Africa. They know that Europeans have never introduced anything for the posterity of Africa. They know that. They know it. In fact, they will break it down academically better than you yourself. But these are Nigerians. They know that Europeans have represented, especially European leaders, because there are many Europeans that are quite neutral. Okay, there are many. But once they go into governance, they are demonic against Africa. Okay, because it's a policy thing. It's enshrined in their policy. Yeah. So these Nigerian slaves who believe that they are basic animals, come and see how they now act worse than animals, because they are aware of the dangers of Europeans. But watch what they do. I want to now give you example of what happened in Nigeria in 2019, prior to that election, that Mickey Mouse election they held in 2019. You know, I don't know whether you remember, that Emmanuel Macron of France flew into Nigeria.
Very well. Very well.
Angela Merkel of Germany flew into Nigeria.
Very well.
Theresa May of Britain flew into Nigeria. Prince Charles of Britain, then Prince Charles, flew into Nigeria. Bill Gates flew into Nigeria. Mark Zuckerberg flew into Nigeria. I wish I can go back and bring you the pictures of Nigerians that were jubilating, celebrating, taking selfie. Everywhere was buzzing. They did not, because if they were hen, they will get worried. These are hawks. They are coming again. Yeah. They are coming for something. It cannot be good for me and my children. It cannot be good. But because they are mortal beings that believe they are animals and must act worse and less than animals, they were celebrating the arrival of their death. Arrival of, oh my God. So on that note, I will rest it today. But I pray God to release that spirit of discernment that he promised to mortal beings, so that we will get to a level where no human being would allow another to sell fibs to them. I think on that note, I thank you.
Thank you so much, Prince, for this great exposition that you have given to us. Just a day before we are going to end Nigeria and stopping that fraudulent and criminal election, that slavery endorsement program that is designed for tomorrow. Thank you so much for these words that you have spoken to us today. And I know that Biafrans, even some Nigerians who want to listen, would have taken the message and begin to determine their future by their decision right now. And we say thank you so much. We appreciate you so much. As always, we appreciate you and what you are doing for Biafrans and the programs you have ahead for Biafrans and Oduduwa Nation and every free person in the continent of Africa and all over the nations of the world. Because the programs you have these are programs that will go far and wide to the nations of the world, because once you touch the people of Africa, the people of Biafra, you have touched people all over the nations of the world, and that is significant. Thank you so much. We appreciate you for your time, for giving out your time. As always, you were here yesterday, you are here today. Tomorrow you might even be here. As always, once it is, you just want to be here and talk to the people. And hopefully,
I think we should stay live tomorrow to see what's going on.
Yes,
thank you,
yes,
Sam.
yes.
And do have a great day and keep up the good work. Bye now.
Thank you so much. Yes, okay. Yes. All right. Thank you so much. Dear friends, we really appreciate him for what he is doing for us. And I know that you appreciate everything he has said today. And I know that you have received knowledge in another dimension, because we have to understand that we are created to learn and relearn. And the concept of learning is what makes us unique. Animals don't learn. They are already instinctive. But humans learn because we have the emotion and the reasoning faculty working together. So you must understand that what we are learning today is meant to make us better, because you must be better and better so that you live a better world before you exit the world. So what we do here is we try to give out the knowledge, and the knowledge that will be transcended into wisdom in the right application by understanding. Remember, so when knowledge comes like this, what you do is you dissect it, you harness it, you brood over it, and then you get the information that has already come to you in the place of understanding. And as soon as you get the understanding, you now apply it rightly so that it becomes wisdom, because the concept of application is what gives you the realm, or plunges you into the realm of wisdom. It is only in wisdom that you rightly apply knowledge. So we want to make you understand that the concept of Nigeria as it stands right now would become a danger to your future if you don't allow the knowledge that you have dissected today to form the basis of your decision, especially those who are one Nigerianists, those who have decided to be Nigerians. And of course, I've told you before that once you are a Nigerian, you are an intellectual. This is 180 degrees apart. You are not, you can't fit, because Nigeria means evil, corruption, foolishness, and everything that has to do with deficiency, and everything that has to do with less than being human. But when you are intellectual, you have the ability to process information and do the right thing for generations to come and for yourself. You understand it. So now that is what we're trying to achieve. And remember, tomorrow there is not going to be any election. We are employing you wherever you are in the world, wherever you are in Biafra land, wherever you are all over. You must make sure that you don't get involved in that sham election. Remember, the hawks have gathered. The people who call themselves election observers, they are hawks. And as a chicken, as a hen, you need to cover your chicks. You need to protect yourself. You need to protect your territory. You need to get yourself covered and apply wisdom right now. Get away from the field, because they are just there as hawks to consume you. Blinking does not have anything good for you. Katrina Lang does not have anything good for you. You must understand that emotional attachment to Nigeria is dangerous to your right senses, because it keeps you at a place of danger where your future is endangered, where the future of generations to come is endangered, and where even your ability to achieve in this life is endangered, is threatened. So you must understand these things and understand them in the realm of wisdom. Now, don't get emotionally attached to things that you refuse to apply your wisdom, so that you know what Paul said. Paul said that I may know him and the power of his resurrection. Now, remember, at this point when Paul was making this statement, he had already received the revelation of Christ. He had already said, as Saul, he was hit when he was going to Damascus. He had already been laid hand on, and he had gotten anointing and the wisdom to understand what Christ came for and the purpose of what Christ came to do. But at a point also, he came to understand that he still needs to know further. And he made that statement, said, that I may know him, which means the process of knowledge is not exhausted, cannot be exhausted. And the power of his resurrection. So in knowing why a thing is, you must come to understand the fundament and how you can apply it rightly to suit your future and suit your generation and suit your life. So you must understand this. Tomorrow there will be no election in Biafra land. Tomorrow we are going to cause a standstill. You must be indoors. No coming out, no endorsement. Nothing should induce you. 5,000 naira cannot induce you. New naira notes should not induce you. 10,000 should not induce you. Because when you come out, the same Nigeria agents will kill you. The same Nigeria agents will destroy you. The same Nigeria agents will come against you. So you have to make a decision for your future. And this is the time. Historically, history is beckoning on you to make a decision right now that you don't join in the election, because historically you are trying to make a landmark that will live beyond you, that would leave a roadmap for future generations to understand what it means to do the right thing for the cause of generational delivery and generational salvation. So you must understand that just like Christ came to save those who are lost, the same way also you are a mini Christ that have been projected into the world, and you are supposed to carry in the same program Christ came to carry out. And that is the program of redeeming the lives of people, redeeming the time, the redeeming and fulfilling purpose. And fulfilling purpose is understanding your role. And that is where it becomes critical. Now, so this sit at home that we are going to observe, we are observing and going to be very critical and very, very, very significant tomorrow, comes to you, that, and the onus is on you now, that you must make sure that you make history tomorrow by sitting at home. Remember, our men would be on ground to make sure that nothing happens to you, protecting you at the same time as Chukwokike will protect you. Remember, when Moses told the people to sit at home and make sure the blood is on the signpost of the doorpost of their doors, that reason was because the angel of death is going to pass, and the angel of death will protect them because they are sitting at home. And the sign, the blood sign, is on their doorpost. What is that blood sign? That blood sign is your decision not to join in the infidels organizing an election or joining in them. You can imagine yourself with the Fulanis going to the polls to elect people, so-called election, to bring people to control you who are under their stooge, who are under their control. Now you bring these people, endorse them by your thumbprint, endorsing the same people the Fulanis have designed to come kill you. Now, it is critical. Now, if you remember the issue, the analysis of Malaifa, who was killed, the former CBN and Central Bank, that's CBN, Central Bank of Nigeria, the deputy, who spoke about the war Fulani is bringing, and he was killed. Remember, see, just like what Prince said, you must be a hen to understand the concept of the hawk. Once you see the shadow, you take cover. Once you see the shadow of the hawk, because the hawk is coming to eat your cheeks. So you must understand this in the way you operate in wisdom. The hawk is dangerous. When people like Blinken, when all these people come with their narrative to talk about election, they are the hawks. They are talking about their interests. They are not concerned about you. So tomorrow, sit at home and see what happens, how Biafra is going to come. Thank you all. I appreciate you all. Tomorrow again, we're going to be here observing the issues, and we might be here in the morning, Biafra time, observing the issues, observing the actions, observing every activity, so that we can actually give you the best. And please remember, history becomes on you tomorrow to make sure that things go right. And that is why you must make yourself an instrument of peace by exuding the concept or exuding that strength in you to think constructively and do the right thing tomorrow. No election in Biafra land. Tomorrow, Nigeria will hear our voice and know that we control our territory and that we have the control of what we do and what we want. Now, remember, election will come when Biafra come. And that is when you can effectively elect the people who will truly lead you. Not those who have been appointed by Fulanis to come and control you under the auspices of Nigeria. Because I'm going to say so many things tomorrow. When we come up tomorrow, several times we're going to come up tomorrow. I'm going to give you some critical things you must understand in the context of Nigeria, what Nigeria represents, and all of these facts. It will blow your mind tomorrow. I appreciate you all and say thank you. I want to thank Prince for the analysis, for giving us the words today. And I want to thank you all for staying strong and staying put and being part of this history and recognizing that God has made you part of this history. And as you sit at home tomorrow, especially those in Biafra land, you are bringing about the narrative of fulfilling history, and so that posterity would have a basis to live and to have their lives better, and of course to fulfill their purpose in life. And that is why you're called. Thank you so much all. I appreciate you all. I see the messages, I see the names, I see my Oduduwa people, I see Biafra people, I see us here, I see Oduduwa people sending great messages, I see people sending the messages, and of course I see Biafrans and the people, lovers of freedom, people sending messages, and of course, those of you viewing, please like this video right now and subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed. The more we have the subscription, the more we can reach more people so that our channel can become a cynosure of truth and global attention. And then the people can begin to hear the concept of truth through you sharing this concept and the voice of truth. And of course, subscribe and share on all platforms that you belong so that people, whether on Facebook and Instagram, on Twitter, on whatever platform, Telegram and WhatsApp, whatever group you belong, share this message so that the people can hear it tonight in Biafra land, so that the people can hear it wherever they are, all over the nations of the world, and tell their people what they need to do and to understand that they are not to vote. They are not called to vote. Voting under Nigeria is evil, is demonic, and it's a destruction. It's like self-destruction, self-inflicting injury, as the man did in, that a man possessed with legions, cut himself, was cutting himself and injuring himself. That is what you want to do by voting. So tomorrow, we're not going to endorse Nigeria anymore. Thank you all. I appreciate you. See you tomorrow. I love you all. Please keep sharing and sharing. Keep subscribing. Keep liking the video. The more likes we have, the more we have more people watching and wanting to know what is happening. This platform is a hallowed platform of truth, and we keep preaching the gospel of truth from here at all times. That is why you must understand that Biafra has a new thing to do for the world to see, so that because people are standing for the truth, we are a cynosure of truth. And of course, that is why we talk about the light coming from the east, coming from Biafra land, the rising sun. And that is what we are projecting to do, and we are projected or designed and created to do. And you must plunge yourself in that right path of truth so that you can become the light the world will see, get the illumination from. And you can be a cynosure of the truth and a representation of the truth at all times. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Somebody was asking me, not just that person, people have been asking me several times, and they say, but you are a pastor, why are you getting involved in this and all of that? So you have left the ministry. Now you are you are now freedom fighting. And I told them, what did Christ come to do? Christ came to save those who were lost. Christ is coming for the second time. The second coming is as a Messiah to deliver the world, to destroy Antichrist and take the government of the world upon his shoulder, and so that the earth will now be under him. So what we are created to do as pastors is to make sure that we preach the gospel of truth and salvation, and see what, let them read the Bible. I told them, read the Bible. Everybody who came as a prophet came to deliver the people, came to save the people, came to preach the gospel of truth. So what we are coming to do as a true pastor, wherever you are, you're not preaching the gospel of salvation by telling the people that they need to be delivered from the hands of the infidels which are controlling them. You can't say God's people should be under Nigeria, being controlled by Britain. It is an error. We'll talk more on this tomorrow, and I'm going to give you more perspective to this. And of course, Prince will be here also tomorrow. We're going to be rubbing minds tomorrow for you to understand what is going on, and for you also to think wider and enlarge the coast of your reasoning faculty so that you can get more facts about the truth. Thank you so much all. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you. I see your names I cannot mention right now because but I see the messages, and thank you all. Thank you all. I love you all, and keep fit and keep safe. Be sure and be expectant. You will sleep in Nigeria and wake up in Biafra. Thank you all, and we appreciate God for everyone who is doing their part in this, whole thing. The ESN, the Alliance, Simon Ekpa, the fundraising, those raising funds and all of that, and those who are supporting financially, those on ground, those who are truly and genuinely working for the freedom of the people of Biafra. Thank you all. We appreciate you, and we'll keep saying Chukwu bless you. But if you find yourself on the way, if you put yourself on the way of Biafra, you'll be crushed. That's what you have to understand. If you are here for your selfish end, for your selfish purpose, if you are in the thing of Biafra for your selfish purpose, you will be crushed along the line. You will not survive for long. That's the truth. So if you think you are thriving now, making some stuff and gaining attention, it is just for the meantime. You can't survive it for long. So know that you must come with clean hands into the concept of Biafra and the freedom of God's people. It is the clean hands that will give you prosperity in it. That is how God has made it, and that's the truth, and that is fact of all that. And I thank you all. Thank you so much all. Oh, I came late to the class. Thank Mazi Kelechi. Thank you so much, Royal Winners. Just go back and listen to it from the beginning. You'll see the great narrative and the stories and the things that have been told here, and the real stories of the truth of what we have to follow that must be adhered to. Thank you all. I appreciate you all. Stay fit, and God bless you real good.